Today's guest has one of those journeys that only makes sense in hindsight. He started out in architecture, got caught in the 2008 financial crisis, and ended up in Barcelona and somehow accidentally found himself at the epicenter of the short-term rental boom at exactly the moment the industry was about to explode. He spent years at the center of that growth, and in 2021, he co-founded Scale, now a leading education and events brand in the short-term rental world. With 24 events across 8 countries and thousands of operators in its community, I'm genuinely excited for this one. Gianpaolo, welcome to the show.
I'm really excited to be here with you, Ben. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you doing today?
Busy because we have a conference really at the end of the end of April. We have one in Madrid, so we are quite busy to put this together.
Excellent. But I mean, with 24 events a year, I imagine you're always weeks away from a conference.
Yeah, more or less, yes.
So I wanted to kind of take it back to the start, kind of the origin story, if you like. So can you take me back right to the beginning? So you obviously trained as an architect, 2008 hits, but what actually happened? How on earth does starting up as an architect land you to being at the heart of the short-term rental industry in Barcelona?
Total accident, I would say, as you said, was
Yeah.
a total accident. No, in 2028, I was, no, 2028, sorry, 2008, I was just landed in Barcelona for, I'd say, 12 months in. I was working as an interior designer for one of the many studios that were in Barcelona this time. And, when the crisis hit, was September 2008, yes, more or less. I found myself without a job for one day to the other. And this was really, really, really bad. The only thing I was able to do this time was working in the construction industry. So I tried to find anything related with this, and it was really hard. So the only
Yeah.
thing I was able to find back then was a job in a real estate company that was also owning buildings. So I accidentally, it was an accident, start working for this company. In theory, was as an architect doing my job, but I found in couple of days that wasn't like this. It was more a commercial gig, so I was there to sell something that wasn't sellable this time, and to rent those apartments that were super small in super dark. It's like I wouldn't live there for in my life. But accidentally, the wife of this guy, so the manager of this company, said, "You know what? We are owning these buildings, and I heard that the renting to the tourists is better than renting to local people." And I said, "Whatever. So I'm working for you. Whatever you said, I'm going to do." And I said, "Okay, so Gianpaolo, you need to find the way to rent to tourists." And say, "I have no idea." Okay, so here you go. Find let's try to find what is the way forward to get tourists instead of classical people from Barcelona. So I was accidentally entered in the short-term rental business because in matter of 3 months I had to put together cleanings, find a way to rent those properties in Airbnb and Booking, and that was my job from one day. The day before I was trying to sell them, and the day after I was renting to tourists. It was a success because it was quite large. I would say 50 units. So for in a market that it wasn't booming. It wasn't like it's nowadays in Barcelona. There were like maybe 1,000 units, maybe, and a portfolio with 50 units was quite good. So the was always fully booked, and this is how everything started. Then year on year, I get experience. I understand what are the the good things and the bad things of being a property manager. We met what a couple of weeks ago, and we
Yeah.
shared a lot of stories. So
Yeah.
being a property manager has a lot of positive things, but a lot of bad things. So this is something that really changed my life because wasn't planned. So my idea wasn't to be a property manager; it was to be an architect. So then, I fall in love with this business, this industry. I start meeting people, learning things, the technology, and especially technology was one of the thing that moved me forward. And now I'm really still connected with the technology side of short-term rental. That is my passion.
Amazing. And kind of on that technology side, taking it back to like, I guess those first 3 months when you had zero experience of short-term rentals and were just told, go for it. This was presumably pre Airbnb and pre booking.com really coming
Y-
into apartments.
abs-
So how did you do it?
Manually, and still today, look, and this is not a strange thing. So we still find people that they don't have any tool, anything, just Excel files and you know updating calendars with I am updating calendars over different platforms and something that is in 2026 say, how is it possible? And there are still
Yeah.
plenty of managers doing like this. So back then was like this. We had like no, booking.com wasn't an option because I remember we start using Airbnb. Airbnb was opened the Spanish market around 2011, 2000. I think one of the first listing was 2009, 2010 maybe. I think I remember we started using Airbnb seriously about 2012, but wasn't an option in 2008. So we had our own website that was quite shitty actually, but was super. So all the bookings were 100% direct. So the job of a property manager, and this is something that I really enjoyed, was marketing. So most of the time we weren't welcoming people, most of the job was marketing. So creating content, creating pictures, creating posts on Facebook. There long ago there was only Facebook. So we were creating content on Facebook, we were creating campaigns on Google Ads. Google Ads was a big thing. So this was the only way to fish tourists and to have them coming to our apartments, but was really successful because we were always 100% and possibly over 100% occupation all year round. So this was crazy. So if you think about this in 2026, it's like, hey, we were
Yeah.
solid 100% fully booked all months, all days, all weeks, everywhere.
Yeah.
It's insane.
I mean, if you tell someone now in 2026, you've got 50 units in central Barcelona, you're 100% occupied and 100% direct bookings, I don't think they'd fully believe you, like
No,
it's
no,
impossible now.
no, because there are a lot of competition. There are a lot of, and even I'd say we were doing short-term rental in a stupid way, I would say, because there were no pricing tools or this kind of thing. We were pricing like, hey, today is 100 and tomorrow, let's say. So we were changing prices once per week, possibly maybe once per month. So there was no dynamic pricing or no, you know, we weren't following the dynamic of the market. We were just like, hey, we are pricing this. So we were looking at other. I mean, the a competitor same area, this 100. So let's say 95 for us. So this was our revenue management. So it it was different. It was different, definitely. It's nothing to do with the actual scenarios. Nothing to do. Absolutely not.
Yeah. So this would have been, how long would you have been in that place for?
In property management, you say? Uh,
Yeah. So like from kind
oh,
of what you guess you would have started around 2008 and then,
I would say 6 years, approx.
okay.
I was doing different companies, but doing much more or less the same thing. And
Okay.
then I said, no more. It's not for me. So I had to move on because it was like, being property manager is a
I know.
full-time job.
Yeah.
It's like being a doctor. You're 24 hours around people looking for you, calling you. I need something. Do you have availability? Answering emails and doing things. So it was quite stressful. So that's why certain point, I had the opportunity to jump on board on one of the first large PMSs that was based
Uh-huh.
in Barcelona, was Kigo.
Okay.
And so I had the really good opportunity to be one of the first employed there. So yes. So this is where my passion for technology really
Hmm.
came out and said, okay,
Yeah.
this is for me. I started selling PMSs, and I'm still engaged with this
Hmm.
role of being selling PMSs and talking about PMSs because it's really something that I really enjoyed and I really still like.
Which makes sense because I guess you've seen, which unlike I guess most people in our industry now, you've seen what the reality is if you're operating without a PMS, right?
Yes, yes. That's why this was one of the advantages of being having been working in as a property manager, because I knew the reality. So trying to sell something to some fellow property managers, look, I've been there. I know what
Yeah.
your pains are, and I know how this software is going to make your life easier. And actually, the success rate was really high because of this, for the empathy. When you
Hmm.
start chatting with someone that is doing the business you were doing for a long time, and you're trying to support them, to help them with something that really is going to change the way they're doing business. And yeah, was tough time, also because at the beginning. Now something like a PMS is a standard tool in the toolkit of any property manager, so it is not even conceivable to start a business in short-term rental without a PMS, even if you have 2 units. And people say, "Oh yeah, whatever. I pay the money that for a PMS is the minimum." But back then, people were, this is not for me, and I say, how is it possible? And now I have, student here updating calendars manually. Say, and do you think a system that is automatic is better than someone updating calendars manually? No, yes, is cheaper. So, over and over receiving this kind of answer was like, how is it possible? The people still think like this. Now, of course, the situation is completely different, and this kind of discussion are, what I would say, almost impossible, but not rare. But not rare. Because there are property managers, especially in Southern Europe, Italy, Spain, and France, especially France, I would say, that still operate without any technology, zero. So no PMS, no channel manager, no nothing. They just run properties.
I just can't imagine that. I cannot imagine that. But I mean, I guess if that's all they know, they're clearly making it work if they've got businesses. So fair play, I guess. So, um, I guess from then with Kigo, was that how you then went and ended up presumably attending a lot of events then?
Yes, all started there. Yes,
Uh-huh.
I mean, I was traveling a lot, and not only for Kigo, because I work for other companies doing in the same field. Yes, I was traveling. I saw a lot of things, and I really enjoyed events because I would say I went to all the short-term rental events from 2012 until before COVID. I would say all of them, including other events that are not properly 100% focused on short-term rentals. Let's say WTM or ITB or other events in Italy, in Spain, and in France also a couple maybe. Yes, I really enjoyed it because is where you meet people, you find what your competitors are doing, and is where you understand what are the technologies in short term rentals and in the tourism industry in general.
Okay. So then I guess you started Scale in 2021, which seemed like a pretty good pause in the industry, what with COVID and everything.
Yes,
So how did that all come about?
I mean, is the roots of scale is are deeper than what you expected, because we didn't just, hey, tomorrow we're going to launch a conference. No, no. My story, and this is a thing that we skipped in 2013. So no, after, yeah, in 2013, I founded my own PMS company. So
Okay.
this is something that I really enjoyed. That I had my own software company for 3 4 years. Yes, was, I wouldn't say it was a success, because it wasn't. Actually, it
Okay.
was a big failure. We're still paying for this, but gave me the chance to, being a sort of doing thing on my own way, and amongst the very different thing we did, we start organizing meetups for short-term rental operators, all about technology. So one of the scope was to put together people and display, showing what we are doing. So, and little by little, we become a sort of, passion doing these meetups, these small events, talking about technology, talking about regulation, and we really enjoy that, because we've been doing this for 4 or 5 years, especially mostly in Barcelona. We did some in Rome, we did some in Italy, and I'd say the Italian branch becomes bigger and bigger and bigger since 2017. I met another guy in Italy. He said, "Oh, can I was following you on LinkedIn." I think yes. He said, "Oh, we can do something together here in Italy." So I said, "Let's try." And we put together a conference. It was the first large short-term rental conference in Italy, and we did a conference in Rome before COVID. We put together 1,000 people, and was crazy for Italy and for the short rental industry back then. And we said, "Wow, this is incredible. So we need to keep on doing this, because we put together something that makes sense. Everyone was happy. Lot of sponsor. Everything was okay. We nail it. We need to scale this project, because it makes sense. And the one of the characteristic of this project, that is, all the speakers were property managers. No sales pitches, no, was just property managers. And I said, this was the difference. And then the same year, I met Damien for the first time. So at one of these conferences, we said, "Oh, this conference is quite shit." And he said, "Well, yes, you're right. This conference is really shit." So we said, he was running the Book Direct show, so another branch
Okay.
of
Yeah.
conferences, and we said, "Oh, we should do something together." We said, "Oh, let's talk about that." So this is before COVID.
Uh-huh.
So during COVID, we keep on doing things together. So he supported my conferences, I supported his conferences, and by the end of 2020, we said, "You know what? People want to meet and learn again after COVID. What about we do something that is going to be really different, really groundbreaking?" And this is the beginning of scale. So we start planning. We start, designing something that wasn't there, to provide something that was really unique. We were, I mean, thinking the same thing. Say, what do you think about this conference? And he said, "Oh, this is quite poor," because it was all about sponsor, not about property management. So we said, there is something that we can improve here. So he was at the time, we was running the Book Direct show, and I was running this conference in Italy that was called Host B2B. And then the COVID hit very very hard on short-term rental and everywhere. And during this period of time, we were working together. So I was helping him with the Book Direct show. He was helping me with the all the online events that we run throughout the COVID period. So it was a sort of collaboration that we keep on, we keep on doing things together. Between 2020, we said, look, at the end of COVID, I think people are going to love to meet and to share experience together, because after a couple of years without having a proper conference, and really happy to share data on a lot of things they've been thinking during the COVID. Would be great to have a conference like this. So we put together the concept of scale when we launched it in 2022. The rest is story.
Yeah. And it obviously it grew really quickly. So like what was that like in the inside, I guess? Because I mean, it as a company, it's not that old,
No, I
and you're
mean,
all doing so many conferences all the time, right? So what was that journey like?
it's a roller coaster, I would say. We
Yeah.
started with the initial project was to have a one-off conference, so once per year, big one. But we realized that wasn't like this after mm, 1 week. so the first one was in May 22. So in June we we actually realized that, oh no, we need to do more. So the very first year we ran 3, because we did Scale Italia and Scale France same year. The year after there were 4. The year 3 we went from 4 to 8, and the year after were 11. So, you know, as I said, when you have 11 conferences running in 1 year, it means that you are preparing the following one. The day you close one, and the day after you're working on the following. And there were periods of the year that we were working on 3 different conferences at the same time. So this was crazy. That's why during 25 we decided to sort of slow down a bit, and we let some conferences down, because it was literally impossible to run all these conferences together. Absolutely impossible. So now we are focused on the key markets in Europe: Italy, Spain, France, UK, in Europe. That is surprisingly very, very good market, and is giving a lot of positive vibes. And Middle East, that unfortunately these days is not in best shape, but
Yeah.
hopefully we are able to do something really good in September, when we're planning to have Scale Middle East, hopefully. Again, if it's not possible, it's not because we don't want to have the conferences, because the market doesn't allow us to do it, because there are a lot of things that are out of our control, and we unfortunately, flights and tourism visas and things, these days is crazy. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to ask about that because I mean, I think the thing that's so interesting about scale is how you have gone into so many different territories. I think Eastern Europe's really interesting because I agree with you. Like I've traveled a lot of Eastern Europe, and I think it's a hugely untapped resource,
Yes.
not just in short-term rentals, in so many ways.
Yes.
So I love that you guys are there. But also the fact you've been to South Africa and the Middle East as well. But I mean, I guess with the Middle East one, do you have an idea at this point with ticket sales, or is it just you're gonna see how it pans out and then take a call close to the time?
This is a fun story. Most of our conferences were in Europe,
Yeah,
more or less. Italy, Spain, France, even UK. We are similar, vision and missions, and I would say quite similar culture. So the European style can, fit all the countries, more or less. You need to adapt one thing or the other, or the tone, or the focus, but more or less is the same. More or less, very more, very less than more. But it's not a problem. We approach with same, you know, vision and mission, scale Middle East, and also scale South Africa, because we say, oh, we are European. There is, a lot of expats, so it's going to be like same thing. And no,
yeah,
absolutely not. So you have to face the reality that when you enter in a market like this, that is so far away, culturally speaking, from your own country, or the place where you're living, that we said, oh wow, this is super different, especially on, you know give us is a stupid example. So for instance, if you are engaged with us to be a speaker, we said, hey, Ben, you're going to be speaker at Scale UK. And say, okay, fine. I'm honored to be a speaker. Say, okay, fine. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So I put your name, picture, and everything on the website, and you are confirmed as a speaker. In Middle East, this is not like this. So when we engage with the speaker and we say, are you confirmed? So absolutely yes. And after, no, I'd say 3 weeks in, so before starting the conference, people start calling you back and say, uh, are we confirmed? Is it real? Is it going live? I say yes. We say you're confirmed. So, no, I didn't. I don't know if I'm confirmed. Say yes. We spoke like 7 months ago. So the culture of you need to make sure that people are 100% sure that they are confirmed, and the same with ticket sales. So people are so busy in their stuff that they potentially, and this is something that happened, come the day of the conference, paying cash, say, "Oh, here I am." So, and they don't care about the cost of the ticket. They just say, "Oh, I heard that there is a conference about short-term rental. I want to join." So I say, "Okay," well, and they pay the cash the day of the conference. And this is something that say, I wasn't expecting that. So this
Yeah.
is one of the same with South Africa. South Africa is a incredibly good market. I'd say is one of the most incredible markets on the planet, I would say, because the country is incredibly good. People there is lovely people, but it's far, 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 far away. It's like Australia, more or less. To go to South Africa is super far away, but is on the same time zone of Europe. Opposite side of the world, but same time zone. And this is something that people say, oh, wait a minute, here is winter, there is summer, and I take a flight, it's long flight, but you go there, is summer. So there are a lot of operators that they said, oh, especially from Netherlands and Germany, they said, oh, this is interesting. So there are a lot of operators that are doing part of the season in northern hemisphere and part of the season in the southern hemisphere. So they have peak season all year round. Because when it's winter here, say in Europe, they close and say, okay, I'm moving to south. So and they're doing peak season down in South Africa. So this is something that we're like, wow, this
Very
is incredible.
interesting.
And this was our original approach to South Africa. We said, look, there are going to be loads of short-term rental operators in Europe willing to do the same. And possibly the sales message that we push out, that was this, say, come with us to discover South Africa because it's something that makes sense to your business. No, that didn't work. Absolutely not. And putting together all the people from South Africa was a nightmare because they don't have a meeting point. There's no association. There was no association. There was nothing. There wasn't a meeting point properly designed for short-term rental operators, any size. There wasn't. So when we create something, people say, "Well, they come to us. We are excited. Thank you very much. It's lovely to have finally a meeting point for short-term rental operators to discuss, about our industry, what we can do better, what regulation that are coming. You're coming from Europe. There are a lot of regulations, so they were really eager to learn from us, from the people coming from the other side of the world, to say, hey, short-term rental there is like this and is going through these challenges, and they're coming to your country as well. Sooner or later, be prepared. And they were super happy and super grateful about that. But still, for us, running a conference on the other side of the world was really this. Actually, we dropped the ball in last year was the last one. Not sure we are dropping forever. Possibly we are taking over in the future. Not sure. Depends. There are many factors that are influencing our decision these days. But
Yeah.
we prefer at the moment to focus on the most important markets, those that are especially these days needs our support, like Italy, Spain, especially because they are going through a tremendous transformation, especially for regulations.
Yeah.
We want to be here to support our community and to give them tools. This is something coming. I cannot share too much here, but our mission, it goes beyond the conferences and education. It's going to be a lot more.
Yeah, because I think, and I completely understand your point around kind of Spain, and I understand why you're doing it in Scale España, because obviously, kind of an interest of mine is the regulation side of thing, but just because I think we need to be on this, and I just don't think enough people are fully understanding what's coming down the track. And I think Spain's a really interesting example, right? Because you've got the second biggest tourism economy in terms of percentage of GDP in Europe, and yet they're the ones that are most punishing towards that side of their economy, particularly around short-term rentals. And I think, I just find that such an interesting paradoxical point, and I just wonder what the future holds there for them, really.
Look, this is something that we I mean, it's not something new. Possibly most people realize that because is quite evident. But we realized yesterday. Yes, we were in discussion with the president of the one of the leading short-term rental association here in Spain, and we said, oh, every day there is sort of, they're organizing the content that goes against short-term rentals in Spain. So if you have some sort of Google alerts, and you put the standard keyword like short-term rental, vacation rental, holiday rentals, and this kind of thing in Spanish, in Italian, in French, whatever, you're going to see that every day there are news, even on a newspaper, that are not about tourism, like random, with the same pattern. There is all about a short-term rental here, short-term rental there. So they are putting bad name on short-term rental. They are guilty for this, guilty for this other. They are doing this bad. So never stressing on the positive side of short-term rental, is always on the negative side of short-term rental.
Yeah.
And we said, okay, this is something strange. So we said, you know what? We want to run a sort of research. Here, AI helped us a lot.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And we put together a 15 pages report just to say that is not a minor topic. This is something really big. And we discovered that in Europe, there is an organization that is behind this. So their job is to create content that goes against short-term rental. And they have, crazy amount of money. I'm talking about more than 100 million to create content on medias, on newspapers, even financing local associations like neighbor associations, or plenty. I mean, this is crazy. The amount of people involved in this, that is a machine, proper machine, because it is an organized thing. Is an attack on short-term rental to tear down short-term rentals. So from the upside down. So the thing is, and look, I'm going to share the report because it's a report that
please do, yeah.
It's something that we are working together with the main short-term rental association on the base of this discovery. But something to say, wow, this is insane. So there is an organization behind this. So we're going to release this report. It's going to be in Spanish, in Italian, in French, in English, of course. And with the support of local association to say, wow, this is actually pressing short-term rental and operators, of course, the professional operators. And now politics has been involved in this mechanism. That is the insane part, because there are personal interests and lobbies that are pushing on this to eliminate short-term rentals. Not hosts, organized property management company. This is different. So if you are a property manager, so running professional operation with like 10 plus units, be aware, because there is a plan to destroy your business, and it's clearly there is a plan. It's not conspiracy or paranoid complots. No, this is real and it's coming, and you will see that. So Spain, Italy, France, and Netherlands, Germany, we have example for most of the most touristic industries in Europe. is there and is coming. So be aware.
Yeah, I'd love to see that report. I can't say I'm surprised, to be honest, because like I always point to the Netherlands as an example where since they've cut well, it's now 15 days, but when they cut it to 30 days, I mean, obviously you're not. I think they dropped something like 54% stock when they cut it to 30 days. But in the period of time that they've had a 30-day limit in Amsterdam, the house prices have gone up 34% within that time, right? And this is the thing that everybody talks about. Barcelona is a great example. It's 1 to 1.5% housing stock. That's not enough to shift the housing prices and rent prices to the levels that we've seen in Barcelona. And I just feel like our entire industry is being used as a scapegoat. So I'm so glad you've done that.
Numbers are playing on our advantage. This is super clear. But sometimes, and no, not most of the time, I would say, there is no a unique voice that goes against these, attacks. And this is the problem, because, we think that association are enough. No, it's not. Even the European Short-Term Rental Association, they did a great job to lobby for the short-term rental in Europe, in Brussels. But it's not enough, because the problem is global, yes, but we need to fight it locally, because the people that distribute this content or work against short-term rental acts locally. So we have I don't know if it's something that makes sense to share, but I'll do. Yesterday, I tried to anonymize it. So in one of the most touristic city in Spain, one of the associations finds out that there was a plan to attack short-term rentals with bombs. Yes, and one of these bombs were successful. So a couple of units were destroyed, suffer a lot of damages. So we're talking about many thousand. This is because there are powers that are telling to neighbors, to people that are living in the cities, that short-term rentals is is stealing properties to the market, and this is a pain. This is wrong. This is we need to fight this, because short-term rental here, short-term rental there. So people, one day they wake up and say, okay, now all against the short-term rental. So they're vandals in the end, because they destroy doors, they burn things, they put bombs, and this is something that can happen everywhere where there is an organized citizens of any tourist city can say, hey, fuck short-term rental, we go against them.
Yeah, well, I mean, it happened. I don't know if you saw it because it wasn't widely reported, but there was a situation in Granada, which, from what I understand about Granada, is a city where they are desperate for more tourists, because they are just bored of people being bussed in from Malaga to see the Alhambra and then go again. Right? It is something that short-term rentals can really help that city become more kind of established and bring it much more kind of economic footprint. And there was an attack overnight, I think about 6 weeks ago, where they destroyed 500 key boxes throughout the city. And I'm sure that when you're hearing that, the same thing probably jumps to you as you think of what that would have been like when you were working as a property manager, right? Like what you would have had to have dealt with in that moment. But I think it's interesting, because I think you can make a very good argument in Spain with the coastal cities, like on the Mediterranean. Like, yes, there is too much over tourism. That makes sense. It's not just short-term rentals, it's tourism in general.
Yes.
But it's interesting to me that it's happening in the less touristy cities. Yes, Granada still has tourism, but it's not the same as Malaga, right?
No. But there are opposite situations. That Spain is, as you said, the second tourism industry in touristic industry in now touristic industry. The country that receive most tourists in Europe after France, I think. Yeah, I'm not sure if for 25 it was the first or second. Anyway, there are countries like this that they need to sort of reduce or control tourism, and I think this is super legitimate because I mean sometimes it's too much because even in places that you say I'm going to do I'm going to do an hike somewhere away from the city, and this is packed of people everywhere, so everything s- I suffer from this massification. Like last Sunday, that was I tried to go somewhere. I said I had to say no, it's impossible because the city where I tried to go, literally, that doesn't accept more tourists. It was overcrowded and wasn't something that a fancy city. It was a small town outside Barcelona. So they said no, impossible. Say we everything is closed. All the parkings were over the top, and this is insane. And on the other side, you have economies that are really eager to accept short-term rental operators. Like one example is Abu Dhabi. They really want to have operators go in there, do business there. So short-term rentals depends on where is a pain or is in trouble, or on the other side is an opportunity. So still, or South America, for instance, is another region of the world where short-term rental um, is still good to do business, I think. So depends.
Yeah. So, what's next for Scale, do you think?
Ooh, a lot of things. more conferences for sure. We are trying to go beyond the single countries. We wanted to do something that goes a bit further. So this year, the first one is we did Scale with AI. That is something that is a vertical conference about how AI can really helps you to scale your short rental business. And we're going to have more on the basis of some researches that we did recently. Hopefully 27 we are going to do more verticals and hopefully new countries, not sure, and a lot of things that I cannot disclose now, but we are working on something really exciting, and it's going to be hopefully really groundbreaking for short-term rentals.
I'm excited to see it. I mean, it seems that everything that you touch turns to gold. So,
No, no, far from that. I'd love no way, no, not yet, possibly in the future.
But I'm excited to see what happens next because I Scale for me as a company that appeared to be one of those ones that came out of nowhere and then suddenly was everywhere. So, and the conferences that you guys run are up there with the best. So I'm very, very.
Thank
I'm
you.
at your one in Spain at the end of April,
Yeah,
and I'm at
couple
your
of
one
weeks,
in
20 days.
yeah, not well. Like we said, everything's presumably a couple of weeks away for you, right? And I'll be at your one in Brighton as well because that's just down the road for me.
Yeah,
So I'm excited for those. But mostly for me, thank you so much for taking the time to come on.
my pleasure.
I said at the top of the story, I find your story about how you got into short-term rentals just absolutely fascinating, and
Yeah.
then what you've done and how dynamic you've been within the space. I just think is absolutely
Now I'm
fascinating.
trapped.
Now you're trapped. That's what it does to you, right? You can't leave.
I don't know what to do.
Yeah. Well, it's not a bad place to be. It is, I think, the most friendly industry going. So,
Yeah.
you've got that.
And yes, was very exciting. Now is yeah, we are in a moment that there are a lot of opportunities, but at the same time there are a lot of challenges. So we need to
Of course.
stay ahead of the two things: the opportunities and the challenges. Challenges, unfortunately, are really, really hard and are going to it everywhere quite badly. I know. Let's work together. This is the only thing: is let's unite and work together and make the interest of short-term rental in a called the in a ecosystemic way, because
Hmm.
we are getting there, but we are still not an ecosystem. So it's something that we should work as an ecosystem, or an integrated is everyone here has a part in this to play, and we need to play together, because at the moment we are not playing together. This is my my vision.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, and I'm glad that somebody is leading the charge on that. So I think from the whole industry, thank you.
You're very
Um,
welcome.
and thank you for your time. And obviously, you're to be found at every event that you run, I assume. And for those coming to the short stay summit in April, will you also be attending that as well if they want to find you, or
Not
do you
me
not go to?
not me personally. Is Damien going to be there?
Uh-huh.
Yes. So Damien and Katie are going to be there. So if you want to meet them in person, they are going to be visible for sure.
Perfect. Excellent. Well, look, thank you so much for your time.
You're very welcome.
And I'll see you in Madrid. Ciao.